Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We got some really groovy tunes here because this is going to be like, honestly, the greatest Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting episode of all times.
Is that because we're talking about you and your movie?
We're definitely not talking about me. We are going to talk about a movie, though, that we have launched all the marketing for. All the publicity has started, the big blitz. We're a couple months out from when this movie comes, July 22nd, and it is called Bad Counselors. And we are going to talk all about it because there's so many epic people involved with this thing. It was like you have to take a village to make a movie, and this village came together in a way that you would never expect.
Like, you're super pumped about this.
Oh, I'm so pumped. It's like one of the highest testing movies I've ever been a part of, and it appeals to so many interesting, fun people that just love going to the movies. We're really excited about this, and we're calling this summer...
What are you calling it?
Badacy.
So Bad Counselors and the Odyssey?
Bad Counselors and the Odyssey.
What was it last year? It's Barbie and Armageddon.
Barbenheimer? That wasn't even last year.
Or no,
that
not
was like
Armageddon. That's right.
That's
right.
Yeah, just crazy. But anyway, I want to say we're going to talk Bad Counselors, all Bad Counselors. We are going to get deep into it, but we're of course going to banter a little bit too. And I did have sort of an interesting day today too, which I think it has gotten me excited to talk about filmmaking and storytelling. And I just want to remind everybody you're listening to what is the name of this song? This podcast?
Were you about to say song? Oh my God!
It's called Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. We're in 72 countries around the world. For sure, one of those countries, which we're about 85% of our viewer or audience is in the United States of America, and Bad Counselors is perfect for the United States of America. Woohoo!
Honestly, you are like literally you're a kid in a candy store. I mean, I get this excited when I walk into Chanel.
You do get this excited. But you know what's crazy is that I really do. I mean, you say this is about me, but this is not. This is about a movie called Bad Counselors. And I am going to reiterate how many things had to come together for this to happen, how great this cast is, how great the crew was, how great all the companies were that came together with this, how great our vendors are and everybody that are working hard for this July 22nd release. It's going to be epic, epic, epic. And I'm hoping that we have some of the members of this village want to come on and talk about it from their perspective, right?
That would be cool. So
get a couple actors, a couple other filmmakers involved, the writers maybe.
Okay, here's my question for you. Do we do a drinking or like a snack game where every time you say the title Bad Counselors, you have to eat or take a drink, or every time you say the word epic, you have to eat or take a drink? Well, I think Andy Cohen does that sometimes with shot skis.
Do you think Bad Counselors
was
the original title of the movie?
I'm going to say no, but I actually don't remember what it was.
You wouldn't remember what it was because I don't think I ever told you.
Was it untitled for the longest time?
No. The original script and the script with the credited screenwriters, Dexter Maslin, Ryan Gunnarsson, and Taylor Grabowski, they wrote a script that we fell in love with called Wonderful Counselors.
Okay, explain. Walk me through the title Wonderful Counselors.
It was just called it that time, and we were just thinking like at some point along the way, us and the writers and the director, we can get into it. But
wait,
we changed
you know
the
what
name.
I'm just realizing as I'm looking at the one sheet, which is which is the movie poster for those who aren't.
What's
in the
name
industry.
of the movie again?
Yeah, Bad Counselors,
yes.
number 2. Okay, so what's funny is Bad, B-A-D, those are the initials of the fraternity that's in the movie. Is that a play on
that's
that?
That's why
or
you've seen the merch around here, the Bad fraternity.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on, how about that?
How did you come to this?
Beta, Alpha, Delta.
Does that exist?
It exists
in your movie.
The Bad Counselors movie and part 2 and the next 10 installments of the series of the franchise.
The franchise of Bad Counselors. So
we are going to do more
times?
Bad Counselors than there are Fast and Furious movies.
That is going to put the Fast and Furious franchise on their toes. What do you think is going to happen to all the drivers?
Well, you know what? We can get into Fast and Furious. We can get into counselors, which I
No,
didn't say
that
the
doesn't
whole-
count.
But let's first of all let's banter a bit. Like, how has your week been? What was the feed? Did you get any feedback about my solo artist performance? I don't know. Like, I mean, I didn't get any
no.
bad feedback. That's
I
good.
just didn't get any feedback.
Okay, so that's not good. There was a tree falling in the woods.
May have been.
Okay, well, I do know everybody was dying to have you back. Dying.
I'm sorry. I have been so chaotic at work. This is one of the busiest seasons, and it is what it is, and it's keeping me out at the office late or at board meetings late. So I apologize that you had to do one on your own.
Well, I missed you. I did have a lot of fun doing it, but
How long did you speak for straight?
I went 33 minutes or 35 minutes.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but you know me, I can go forever. If you give me a microphone, I can just keep going.
Okay, well,
I'm like the Energizer Bunny Rabbit.
Well, here's what's funny. So last week I worked from home one day, and Chris is so loud that he literally was talking and talking and talking, and I couldn't even hear myself think. So then he went for like a late afternoon run. He's like, "Hey, what do you want? What do you want me to pick up for dinner?" Meanwhile, I am now 3 hours behind work because I had a hard time focusing on anything because he was just so flippin' loud.
Yeah, but although
And
I do
excited.
question,
You were excited too about what you were talking about. So it was like animated
because
and
we were in
volume.
the process of getting this marketing launch for Bad Counselors.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
lost count already.
Okay, well, anyway, we had to get it going. There's a lot of different people involved with that, a lot of timing and all that aspects. We had to get all the key art and the creative and all that done. And, you know, it's just is a lot of phone calls, a lot of moving around. And then on top of it, I'm doing my part with some media appearances, trying to push this idea that we have a killer movie.
We
called
also
Bad
have
Counselors.
something going on in China.
Yes, I did talk about China. So we're not going to talk about China. We're going to talk about how Bad Counselors has nothing to do with China. And it's not for the China audience. It is for people in the United States of America, probably Canada, and it probably work in other places around the world. But
Well, I just
love
think
the
it
fact-
resonates because so many kids, to some extent, have gone to a sleepaway camp or have done a summer camp experience. Maybe it was a day camp, maybe it was overnight, but I think it has a touch of nostalgia to it. The movie poster itself has a little bit of that 90s vibe to it.
Totally.
And I don't know if that's what you were going for, but that I think Dylan was the one that mentioned that. And when he said it, it's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It does. It does. Who's in the movie that people would know?
Okay, first of all, well, I'll drop those names really quick because they're all awesome, and then I just want to talk about something that inspired me even more so today, but it was also a little sad too. Okay, but the cast that is in this movie is fantastic. It's Matt Cornett, Ramon Reed, Brett Basinger, McKaylee Miller, Richard Jones, Pearson Faudet, because he has an accent aigu on his E, Missy Pyle, and the great Chris Klein from all the American Pie movies. And
Love
then
it.
We also have a couple NIL and NCAA players in this thing. We have all kinds of fantastic cameo appearances. We have music from Corey Asbury and Forrest Frank and Night Ranger and who else am I missing? Lifehouse, etc. So there's just a confluence of awesomeness in this movie. Okay,
What's it called again?
Bad Counselor.
When does it open?
It opens on July 22nd for previews.
Okay.
And then July 23rd for good. And it should be in theaters for 75 years because everybody's just going to go and go and go and go.
Well, you know me. I do like my Netflix and chill nights. Will it be on streaming at some point?
At some point, but
Okay.
people are going to go see it in the theaters because it's a real communal experience. But let me just, you did ask me if I was okay today. So let me just.
Well,
let me
because I'm
just-
your wife and I care.
And I just want to say, I really had a sad memorial experience going to a funeral of a person that was really important in my early years in the entertainment business named Mike Stenson. A lot of old friends were at the church today. It was very sad, but it was uplifting because he ran Bruckheimer Films for decades. I mean, this is a guy who made the Bad Boy movies, the Top Gun movies, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the Lone Ranger. I mean, obviously we all had flops that didn't work. But Glory Road, National Treasure, King Arthur, Kangaroo Jack, which Jerry O'Connell was in, right? Like I put them in that. Black Hawk Down, which broke Eric Bana, as far as a star. Pearl Harbor, remember the Titans, Coyote Ugly, Gone in 60 Seconds.
I love that movie, Coyote Ugly.
I mean, this guy was a living legend, and we all went to remember him. His brother said one of the most touching eulogies ever, but it was really, he talked about the depth of his character in terms of how he tells stories and how he saw the importance of letters and the importance of reading and literature and how he worked with writers to craft stories into what became some of the biggest movies of all time. And it reminded me of, when Hollywood is working well, and telling stories the right way to audiences that can embrace them and feel that emotional tug, and also the entertainment and that escapism, and just coming out of the theater excited that they spent 2 hours there. That's magical.
It really is. So can I ask questions about this movie now?
Yes, you can, because I am inspired. Thank you, Mike Stenson. Please rest in peace up there. We're going to miss you. Okay, go ahead.
How did this movie come about?
It's one of the fastest stories of I guess, an idea or even the beginning of a business all the way to screen that I've ever witnessed. I mean, keep in mind, like a Forrest Gump took 7 years just to develop the script.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was.
Why did it take so
forever.
long?
I mean, there's movies that take 20 years to gestate until they finally get made.
Well, didn't we talk about that with Avatar 3?
Yes, that did take quite a bit of time, and let's see if there's any more avatars from that. But I will break into the genesis of this, which actually started. Shout out to the Crotty family and Robert Crotty, father of Lauren, Miles, and Cole, husband of Anne Marie. He called me up and said, "Hey." He's helping to advise this independent film studio that wanted to start up in Tennessee. And he asked if I was interested in helping build it from scratch. And I asked, well, what kind of movies do they want to make? And he said, well, they're really focused on stories that call us to live for something greater. Like when you walk out of that theater, how do you feel? Do you feel uplifted? Do you feel like there's something that inspired you to be a better person or contribute better into society, or something that brings like a new found faith to you, or whatever it is, the Friday Night Lights, the Chariots of Fire, the Hoosiers, the things that are sort of uplifting survival stories. And I said, yeah, count me in. So I went down to Nashville. That was in October of 2024. I met the chairman of the company, this guy, Tom Evans, who is absolutely fantastic. I loved everything he had to say. Chris Goluska, who's my right-hand person that, he and I partner on all this stuff to get things going. He was great, and I loved Tennessee. It was really fun.
Do you know I've never been?
I know. I got to get you down there. Franklin, Tennessee is a lot like sort of Manhattan Beach in Tennessee in a way. It's very pleasant.
Well, you've sent me photos. I mean, when you go on runs in the morning, you take pictures of houses, and you're like, "Oh, we could live here." It's
so cool, and they got these listening rooms like that we talked about, where you listen, just incredibly talented musicians, but you're not supposed to talk. You're supposed to really whisper and listen.
I think that's hard for you.
It's very hard.
You got in trouble, didn't you?
I did get in trouble. Will Lowry was there to witness that.
No shock.
He told me to, have to be quiet.
Okay.
So speaking of which, Will Lowry, who runs the Range Media office in Nashville, Tennessee. So I told him, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna dive in and help build this company down in Franklin, Tennessee. And here's what we're looking for: stories that call people to live for something greater. And he sent a bunch of scripts, but one of them came on November 4th of 2024 from a director named Chris Dowling, who he knew well, who directed the movies Where Hope Grows and Run the Race, and was also a showrunner on Blue Ridge, which is a big TV series. And it was called Wonderful Counselors. And it was written by Dexter, Ryan, and Taylor, who I brought up earlier.
When you read it, did you immediately say, okay, I can see how this is going to be a 3-act structure, how we're going to market it, how it's going to go into theaters, how it's going to go into streaming? Like, was that Do you, and this is maybe more of a question of process, and I don't know what your process is versus somebody else's, but do you look at material, do you find material and you immediately can see it on the big screen or on like a TV screen?
Yeah, well, if you read a well-crafted script, a lot of times you can visualize it as you're reading it. A lot of times the first time I read a script to me, it's really about the voice of the writer, really trying to understand like where they're coming from. Obviously, this was 3 writers working together. Are they writing really interesting dialogue? Have they crafted really interesting characters that have a strong engine that gets them through the plot, has interesting low points, is like you get behind them or you're rooting for them, or the antagonists people you don't want to see succeed? Like, what are the feelings you have when you get out of it? And then then you read the script again and you start to visualize the stuff that you're thinking you really liked. And as it comes together in your mind, sometimes you realize, there's like a lot of interesting parts to this, but I don't really see it as a movie on the screen. And then there's other times where you're like, oh, this all clicks. So it was interesting because Chris Dowling told Will Lowry, the director, told Will Lowry, my longtime friend. I met him as a colleague at William Morris back in, I think, 2000, right? And we used to hang out with him all the time. Fantastic guy.
He is a great guy.
But Chris Dowling said it was the funniest script he ever read. And Will Lowry said, hey, here's a bunch of scripts to read, but this one I think might resonate with you. So Galuska, Crotty, and myself all read it, and we sort of fell in love with it. We read it, I believe I was looking at my notes, November 18th of 2024.
Oh, interesting.
And by December 6th,
December 6th. So a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, by December 6th, we had our first meeting with Chris Rourke, Bradley Houston, and Chris Dowling to talk about what we had just read in script form, and asked how, like, Houston, Bradley, Chris Rourke, Chris Dowling, how are you guys going to make this movie? What do you see as far as a budget, like cast, all that kind of stuff? And we all hit it off. So,
well, can I ask a question about budget? So how do budgets come around? I mean, you hear the Fast and Furiouses, and just because we mentioned that earlier, and that's a huge blockbuster, mega budget. Obviously, there's the stunts, there's the special effects. A movie like this doesn't have that. So do you automatically like take the budget and divide it in half, divide it by a third? Like, how do you create a budget?
Well, their first budget was high.
Well, it always is. It's like going in full asking price for a house. Like you go in at the top and you know that it's going to come down.
Oh,
there's ripcords.
Yeah, I've gone in with budgets that were massively over budgeted, and then you have to bring them down. Obviously, producers always want to put as much as they can on screen. They want to give the director as much latitude, essentially, and freedoms to bring to life the best, biggest vision they can. And then obviously there's the people that have to work creatively with them, but also talk about, okay, well, we believe in this creatively. There's some changes we want to make, and we are willing to pay to make this movie, but it can't go past X budget, right? So before we did that, we had to go sit with our board, Tom Evans, who's the chairman of that board, and essentially pitch it to them. And what was interesting is I didn't think, when you think of movies that call people to live for something greater, I didn't necessarily think Wonderful Counselors was exactly in that zone, but I did know I really loved the script. And we pitched it to them, and they bought into it, and they said, this is great. And then we said, okay, we're going to whittle this budget down. We're going to figure out the best place to shoot it, places where there's subsidies and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to do it in the United States of America, 100%.
Well, and I will say, because I worked at home last week on that day, and I heard you doing some media interviews and talking to a few people, that's something that you're really proud of, is the fact that it is all American made.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that I had an opinion piece come out in Real Clear Politics this week, where I literally took responsibility for being part of the cogs in the machine of offshoring so much production outside of the United States of America, not just California, but the United States of America. And I really regret, being a part of that. So one of the things that I really want to try to do is bring back as much manufacturing to the United States of America. And Hollywood's no different than making cars or, building planes or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of people that are involved with these movies. In fact, on this movie, we had 1,200 people directly involved. And then there's all kinds of different vendors and third parties involved also.
And all 1,200 people, they were all U.S. based?
Everybody is a United States citizen, and everybody's based here in the United States. Everything we did, even the locations, Tennessee, we had some shots, but for the most part, we were in North Carolina, just north of Charlotte in the foothills there, where we shot at this camp. We shot at Queens College also, which is, or Queens University, which is also in Charlotte, and a bunch of area locations in and around the Charlotte area and the foothills there in North Carolina.
Wow, that's pretty cool. How many times did you go to set? I remember, I want to say like twice.
Well, the beauty is that, well, it's not the beauty. It's when you're making something, when we finally decided where we're going to shoot it, what those, incentives and tax breaks were and all that kind of stuff. We came up with the budget, and then that's the tough part, because we bring on a guy named Rodney Eldridge, who's fantastic. He was our line producer, but he's also very creative, and he's ultimately a producer on the movie, but he's the guy who like really cracks the whip. He's the guy that makes sure everybody keeps on budget.
I don't know if you can say that.
Okay. Well, he's the guy who keeps us really tight and anal on budgets, on line items, right? Like he would show up to set, and if there's extra Starbucks at craft services, he'll be like, why did we spend the extra money there? We were supposed to put that into the, into the extra monitor for the cameraman or whatever it is, right? He'd say that's his job. It's a very tough job because somehow he makes everybody like him, even though he's the one that says no to a lot of stuff. And he does a great job of it. In fact, thanks to Rodney Eldridge, we ended up on budget. By the time we're done with this
movie,
movie,
does that happen ever?
No, it doesn't happen ever.
I mean, in all the movies that you've worked on, has that ever happened?
It wasn't my fault, but yeah, I would say. No,
I'm not saying it's your fault.
The 6 movies I've been some version of a producer on, I would say at 20 probably went over budget.
Okay, that's not actually as bad as I thought.
Yeah, it's not great though. You want to stay on budget. I mean, that's one of the problems when you bring together these villages. And one of the things that we had a real problem with was weather, because we have to shoot it really quick. You know what you want to get done every single day, and when you're a sleepaway camp kind of movie, you got to shoot outside a lot.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do.
And that becomes an issue.
It does.
So, the movie, do you know what the plot of this movie is?
Well, I did see one of the first cuts. I did.
That's right, you did. So what would you say the movie's about?
Well, let me just share my thoughts without sort of giving the byline and what this movie is about. I mean, although this movie is about kids in college who have to sort of redeem themselves, and
because they get in a lot of trouble.
They get in a lot of trouble, and they end up as counselors at this sleepaway camp. And the sleepaway camp happens to be a like church-going religious sleepaway camp. But it's sort of them finding themselves and finding the good in each other and sort of their purpose, and really enjoying this process. And it's that kind of glorious moment at the end. And it's actually a very feel-good movie. And that's what I was going to say, that when I did see,
and those kids it's Cornette and Reed who play those roles. And Reed reminds me of like just a Kevin Hart, but even better.
He's great. He's got great timing.
And Cornette's a great leading man.
He's so cute too.
Yeah, he is. And he's got a big series coming out on Amazon.
That's exciting.
Yeah, in June. So
that's exciting. But what I said to you when I first watched it is, I could see myself at home with the kids on like a Saturday night when they're, 10 or 11 years old and there's a sleepover. This would be something I would watch with the kids, because it's cute. It holds my attention. It's not raunchy. It's not like inappropriate. I mean, I remember HBO and Sex and the City and watching it on Sundays with my parents, and it was so uncomfortable, those moments. I mean, I think my dad was equally as uncomfortable as I was at some of those like scenes. This movie has none of that. It really is a family film.
Yes.
And it's not like a Dora the Explorer family film where you want to shoot yourself. It's actually really cute.
Okay, I'm going to tell everybody, and it's hard to not make this sound like a commercial, I guess, in a way, but I'm trying to make it interesting. You may have
passed that point in the first 30 seconds.
Here's the beauty of the film, though. Like, there's not a lot of movies that I mean, family comedies, there's not a lot of them anyway. There used to be a lot, like Disney used to make them through Touchstone and various other things. There were Father of the Brides and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
and
I love that movie
Garf,
too.
like, Air Bud and things like that or whatever. But the nice thing about this movie is that if you're a parent and went to any form of summer camp growing up, there's a big nostalgia, fun feel to it, right? And if you're bringing a kid, the kids love it because they're in the middle of summer camp right now, or at least they will be in July. So it's really going to speak to them. So it allows people to enjoy it together. And one of the problems with Hollywood in the last couple of decades is like they sort of force feed those family films into a handful of them a year that are usually in the form of these massive animated movies, or the Shreks, or maybe a huge Disney kind of film or whatever it is. You don't see these, smaller, fun PG-13 family comedies as much as you used to in the movie theater. So that's what we wanted to tap into. We wanted to tap into something that wasn't drudgery for the parents to go to bring their kids. We wanted something appropriate for, say, 8 or 9-year-olds to be able to go with their parents, and then something that had enough edge to it so that, 18, 19, even 20-year-olds will have a good time at, and parents will enjoy it too. So that's what we tried to put together in this mixture that the Village brought together and made work. So just back to that timeline, what was crazy is that when Tom Evans signed off on, hey, let's go make this movie, figure out like the best, sort of budget and all that kind of stuff. We went from literally that meeting, that green light, into the holidays. We come out of the holidays, first day out of the holidays, we had our attorney, we told our attorneys we got to draw up paperwork, and we started casting the movie January 16th, which is pretty crazy.
This sounds like a ridiculously fast timeline.
It's really fast, and I will tell you, Alfiero, Danielle Alfiero and Amber Horn were fantastic to work with as our casting directors. For people that aren't in the movie business, obviously there's a part of putting a movie together where, there's a handful of roles where you're trying to find name actors for. In particular, we had the camp leader, Tom, had to be somebody of some name recognition, and that's where we got so lucky and we were able to get Chris Klein in there. And then we wanted these two young fraternity brothers who had to go, essentially serve their community service at this summer camp. We needed them to be on the rise, people that younger audience members would know, and then also be affordable too, because we have to, we need to get them as they're really gaining, momentum. Right? It's the same way Marvel might cast somebody. They go, hey, we're going to cast that person who's on the rise. And then they go do the Marvel movie. And the next thing you know, they're making $20 million a movie. I'm hoping that happens to Cornette and Reed and everybody else in this film. And if it does, or when it does, it's well-deserved because they're awesome.
I love this. This is totally like an infomercial for bad counselors. We haven't said the name in a little bit.
Okay, so ask me tough questions that aren't infomercial questions then.
Am I in the credits?
You are in the
Yay!
credits.
Well,
you made the end credits.
What about the kids?
Wait, how did this turn into All About You?
Because we've been talking all about you this entire episode.
We've been talking about actually a movie called BC.
No, and by the way, you are super excited about it. You're very proud of it, and I'm proud of you for it. But I'm just making it about me now.
Well, you know who else is in the credits?
Flynn?
No, I didn't put Flynn in there, but Kaylee and Dylan Fenton are in the credits.
Aww.
Yeah.
And is your name on the one sheet? Will I be able to see it?
My name is on the one sheet, along with all the great cast members, the writers that we talked about, Dowling that we talked about, Robert Crotty and Galuska and Rodney, actually Tom Evans, who I mentioned, Will Lowry's on there, Mark Williams from Zero Gravity is in there too, and it's just a good team. It really is. I'm so pumped up about it.
So I'm going to ask you a question, kind of like the question that that we posed to Kaylee tonight at dinner. Oh. And that question was, who's the first interview you want to do for this movie? Like, who's the first person you want to interview on this podcast from the movie? You got. I know it's sort of like picking your favorite, just like we made Kaylee pick her favorite. both Kaylee and Dylan had graduation on the same day, who would she want to go to? And I think immediately she was going to say you. And I acknowledge it. You probably are the more fun parent. But then she stopped and she thought about it. And I think she realized that I'm the one who does all the organizing. I'm the one who does all the planning. I'm the one who would have secured the restaurant reservation months in advance. I would have had the driver to take us from point A to point B. I would have gotten the graduation tickets, like all of those things. And then she probably realized, actually, maybe mom is the better choice. So I'm going to put you on the spot and say, first person you want to interview from this movie.
Well, I mean, obviously, first of all, there's so many interesting, awesome people that would be great discussion with. If we were trying to, use the power of a podcast to get people to go see this movie, you obviously would look at the biggest star names, right, that people would recognize, and you go, oh, Chris Klein would be a great interview, or maybe have Forrest Frank or Corey Asbury, or some Missy Pyle would be great.
She's so funny.
Breck would be great. I mean, there's a lot of people that you would go after, and you would think, hey, it would be awesome to talk to the actors. But I'd also argue that there's actors that would be a really interesting conversation, like, say, Nathan Gamble. Like, Nathan Gamble plays, sort of the antagonist at the summer camp, and he's somebody who is a massive child star, and now he's an adult, and he's breaking as a great talent as an adult. But if anybody saw the Dolphin Tale movies, he was the kid in the Dolphin Tale movies.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, and he's got a superb personality. He's a natural comedian, and I think he would be really fun to talk to. Plus, he's somebody that really is inspired by things that call for people to live for something greater too. So I think he would be both inspirational, and he's got a heck of a story. But I would say any of those actors would be amazing. I think it would be fantastic to talk to Will Lowry about the old days, right?
Can we bring Will on?
Chris Dowling as the filmmaker. I mean, how...
You have great things to say about him.
Oh, he's so awesome. I mean, the writers, by the way, there's a bit of a little bit of history from the writers and what this story is about. So I'm curious, I almost think of, say, Trip Vincent and the Hangover movies, the fact that it's loosely based on somebody's bachelor party, right? So,
sure.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot of fun interviews, and hopefully we can get a couple on. But I also don't want to waste their time on Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton if we can get them on Jimmy Kimmel, or a big Gutfeld, or one of the big podcasts on Joe Rogan or something like that, Theo Vaughn. Let's make sure we're putting these talented people that have a lot of really fun things to say and can help us get people excited about going to this movie. Make sure we got them on the biggest audiences, because we do have 72 countries that listen to us, but let's face it, Joe Rogan's got a bigger audience than us.
He does, but we're working towards that Energy Bar as a sponsor. We're working towards it.
Yeah, when is the Energy Bar sponsorship
know.
happening?
I don't want Bitcoin. I don't want those weird commercials.
We haven't even gotten a Bitcoin offer.
No.
It's like Dogecoin. It's like coins that I haven't heard of. And I was like, yeah, we're not really all that interested in that.
Maybe this will be the takeoff of that.
Well, I didn't even tell you.
Oh my goodness.
But you know how I'm a stakeholder in this fantastic sports agency called
the NIL company. Yeah.
Yes. So we have two NCAA football players in this movie. They're fantastic.
Are they in the fraternity?
Markiel and Jamarian. They're so good. Yeah, they're fraternities. They're fraternity brothers. They're dressed up as pirates.
Oh my god!
They both have lines. They both made the trailer. It's awesome.
Okay, I love it.
Anyway, we actually are working. I mean, they're going to promote the movie because they're in it, right? But then we also have over 200 football players from the SEC and the Big Ten also promoting this movie, and we actually launched that today.
Oh, that's really cool.
Shout out to Frankie for getting that done down there at A&P. It's like wrangling cats. You got to get all those athletes inspired to put out good posts and talk about how great this movie is, get the trailer out there, the key art, all that stuff, and then start saying, hey, your tickets go on sale June 16 and it comes out July 22nd.
And I imagine this is probably the first time that your two athletes had done a movie, right? I mean, I'm sure they've probably done commercials or things like that based on NIL, but being on a movie set is a very different experience.
Definitely the first time. They had a blast. We actually did some stuff with Champion with them too,
Oh, that's
because
so
of their NIL
cool.
stuff. And it was really fun seeing the auditions of all these guys trying out for the film. And these two guys sort of nailed it. And we were sort of like, are they going to make the final cut of the movie? Let's see how they are on screen. But they were great, and they did a really good job, and they livened up that fraternity house in the opening scenes really well. So shout out to them. And then, you're going to see a lot of football players out there pushing this movie, which is perfect because they have these followers that are mainly boys 10 to 20, right? And they're going to be excited to go. And then all these local regions where these guys, like, say, play for University of Alabama or they play for
sure, where they're celebrities.
Yeah, they're going to be, quote, camp counselors opening night of the movie.
Oh, that's so fun.
Working the theaters.
Are they going to be wearing a
free,
Camp Burning Bush t-shirt or
Camp
something?
Burning Bush t-shirt. They'll be handing out free t-shirts
Oh,
and all
that's
that
so
swag.
cool.
It'll be really fun. So anyway, that's all I got to say about Bad Counselors. I know it was really quick and you want me to talk about it more, and I apologize if it sounded like an infomercial. I'm just really excited.
I know you're
about it.
so excited, and I'm excited for you.
When
do I get to see the final cut, or are we gonna go to is there a premiere?
We're gonna have a couple cool screenings for it. I don't.
Are you gonna
know
invite
if we're gonna
me?
do the premiere. I don't know if I can get you on the list. We might do one at the Soho House in Nashville.
Oh, can I go to that one?
That could be pretty fun.
Because that
would be pretty
way
fun.
it gets me to Nashville.
It would get you to Nashville. You could feel like the coolness of that vibe there, the music, the Southern hospitality, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
I like it. Let's plan on that.
Anything else as a closeout here? Because we lose Dylan.
We're
going to go half empty nest.
Yes.
In
about a week. Mm-hmm.
And he's not even here anyway. He's off frolicking for 3 days with friends.
Yes,
somewhere.
but Kaylee is in and out. It's funny because they are definitely here. I can tell by the sand on my floors. I can tell by the food in the pantry, the snacks in the refrigerator. They're definitely not as healthy. There's definitely a lot of open chip bags. There's definitely way more dishwasher runs. It feels like we're running that dishwasher every single day.
And
there's more trash.
Dad, my shower is plugged up. It's like not draining. Oh God. All right.
But it's so nice having them home. I really do embrace it. So I love it. Even though they're in and out and they're old and we feel old, I still love it.
Well, all I know is we're embracing every minute of it. It has created chaos. It created so much chaos that I had to do the last episode myself. But now we got Jen Fenton back. We will get back to the really serious subjects that we like to cover, along with all the banter on the next episode. And then hopefully we can get some of our fun Bad Counselors villagers, the village that was built in order to make this great movie, come on and give us some more fun details about this movie coming out in July.
I lost count how many times we said Bad Counselors, but I think it definitely calls for a drink.
It was a lot. So until next time, this is Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. Please download, follow, enjoy, review, tell all your friends, and get us to that 73rd country.
Please.
Please.
Bye.
Until next time, bye-bye.